Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I wanted to give you a repotting update video on some of my recent orchid repottings. I thought I would just kind of show you how the ones that I've repotted for you have been doing. And also I've got many people who are asking me, what do I think about the orchiata bark? So I thought I would go over some of my more recent repots in the orchiata as well. So as you see, this is my little espresso mini that I repotted last week in orchid grade Spangham moss. And what I did not do on this one that I meant to do was I meant to put the charcoal chips down in the bottom of this one. And I ended up not having any room. I really wanted the roots to go down into the moss. So I have had pretty good luck with growing in these little tiny cups with no holes. Next year, I will convert that one over to a larger cup with holes. But this one was the closest fit to a container that I could find for it. So I didn't have any bud blast on this. I bought this for $4. So I'm really anxiously waiting these buds to bloom out. This one I actually soaked in CalMag and some extra Epsom salts as I was repotting it. And also I've been watering it with some extra Epsom salts and CalMag. And you remember I mentioned in the repotting video, this little plant was purple. I want you to look at the improvement in just about 9 days. I'm not believing it is greening up so quickly. So I highly recommend that extra calcium and Epsom salts. I'm going to show you about how much Epsom salts I use in a gallon of water. It's such a small little amount. This is a teaspoon. I'd say that's about maybe a little bit less than a 1/16 of a teaspoon. But as you can see, this little orchid has really greened up. I've been surprised. And if you need more information on how I fertilize with CalMag and Epsom salts, let me give you that recipe as well. And this is how I mix that up. I use 50 parts per million of CalMag, 20 parts per million of Epsom salts, and my pH is about 6.5 when I do that, and they get really good absorption of this, as you can see. So there's that recipe. And on the right, you will see my little star mini that I added some Better Grow orchid grade Spangham moss to about a month ago. It was in bloom. Of course, it was already all bloomed out and it had been in bloom for a while. So it's pretty much safe to repot an orchid that has been in bloom for quite a while and the blooms have hardened off. What I mean by that is while they're in bud, they are sensitive and any slight little variation in their location can cause bud blast. But this one had been in bloom for about 2 or 3 months. So it was safe to repot this one. So as you see, this one is just doing really well. I can tell I'm already getting some new root growth. I do like the containers with the bottoms, with the holes in the bottom. I put some charcoal in the bottom of this one. It is very easy to water this one and it drains really easy. So this one is doing really well, no transplant shock at all, and the blooms are doing fantastic still. So this is Star's second repotting in moss. She was in one of the smaller cups like I showed you with the first repotting with my espresso mini. And this is also my second repotting on this No ID miniature. And I put this one in orchiata bark, and it's the small size. It's actually a very small size. I really like this bark. It was in a different type of bark before, And so I just decided it needed a larger home because the roots were starting to grow out the holes in the bottom of its old container. So this one is in a cup, but it does have large holes drilled in the bottom of it, and it has charcoal on the bottom. I really like putting charcoal on the bottom or styrofoam peanuts, something like that. It makes your watering easy, and the water just drains away from the bottom of the pot really much easier. And there's been no sign of transplant shock with the phals that I have placed in orchiata bark. It is treated with dolomite, which is a natural form of calcium and magnesium, and it just kind of upholds the roots, I believe. It just really provides something that keeps the plant healthy, and they don't go through transplant shock. I've been very, very pleased with this bark. And this is my beautiful phal, Hilo Pink, and I placed her in orchiata medium-sized bark about a month ago. I was so glad that I went ahead and repotted this one because there was a moss basket in the middle of this pot. I had dug around as best I could, and I didn't think that there was one, but there was. So I was very glad to get this one into some new bark. And there has been no transplant shock. This one has been in bloom for probably about 3 or 4 months. And so by the time I repotted it, these blooms had hardened off as well, and I haven't lost any blooms off of this bloom cycle due to my repotting it. And here's what the orchiata bark looks like. This is the medium sized, as I said. And I also put non-dissolvable styrofoam peanuts in the bottom of this one, so it drains very well. And everything looks really good with this plant. I'm very happy with this repotting. And here is my beautiful phal, Magic Art. Yes, she's still in bloom. I bought this one December 1st. It is now May, the middle of May. I can't believe this one has been blooming for 6.5 months. So beautiful bloom on this one. I repotted this one 2 months ago. As you see, she still has a few beautiful blooms on her. And let me show you the bark that she's in. And this is in the same bark that the Hilo Pink is in. It's in the orchiata medium-sized bark. The only thing, I did not have any styrofoam peanuts. So there was nothing in the bottom of this except for the bark. This one is a little bit easier, this one's a little bit harder to drain than the other one since I didn't have those non-dissolvable peanuts. So I had to be kind of careful to go back and drain this one about an hour after I've watered it. And I've been asked by several of you, do you let your orchiata bark soak in water? No, I don't. I actually water these over the sink and let it drain straight through. But then when I put it back in this plate, it still drains just a little bit, and I don't want that setting in water all day. So that's why I go ahead and check it in about an hour, just to make sure there's no water that needs to be drained away from this plate. And if you want more information about the products that I've showed you, my moss, the bark that I've been using, the CalMag, the Epsom salts, I go over all of that in this video from March 18th, 2018. And thank you all so much for watching, and you all just have a highly favored, deeply loved, and greatly blessed day. And we'll talk to you all next time.